Hello everybody, Ninjas here and welcome back to Sentai Daishikkaku, episode 12, the finale. The finale of the season, at least, or maybe more aptly the finale of the core, because the second season has already been announced, and it's probably going to be more of a second core rather than a second season. Although there isn't really much of a difference between those two, is there? Right? So, however this episode ends, we have the knowledge that another season is coming, so whatever, loose threads remain, they're gonna be concluded in the future. That's good. I was actually kind of afraid that because it's it's the first venture of Yostar Pictures into making a real anime, quote unquote, meaning not an adaptation of one of the games that their parent company makes, but rather, something outside of the gacha sphere, so to speak. I thought that maybe it's going to be just a trial, essentially, right? We're gonna make a cute little small show, 12 episodes, we'll see where it goes. But either it went really well to the point where another season has already been greenlit, or they are much more invested into this whole thing of adapting other works, and it was already planned to be a two-core show. Either of those possibilities is very, very good. So, we'll see how this core ends, and we're gonna have to wait patiently. I think until the next year, if I'm not mistaken, for the second season to arrive. Oh well. I was hoping that maybe we're gonna get like season to season back to back, but no such luck, unfortunately. Regardless, what happened in the previous episode? Well, we had all of the trainees, or whatever we want to call them, all of the Hibiki and his friend D and his friends. We had them beat Peltrola in a very cool, very fun, imaginative way, actually using their strengths, using their fighting as a group, etc., etc., with a little bit of D's magic, so to speak, creating fake weapons, stuff like that. That was very cool. I wonder what the repercussions of that are gonna be. I wonder if his friends now know that he's a fighter. I wonder if all of them are going to be promoted to a what's the name of it? Not a keeper, but ranger. Yeah, whether all of them are gonna be promoted to rangers, or how exactly it's gonna be. I'm twiddling a little bit with the camera settings, because one of my light bulbs went out, and I gotta adjust for that. I think this is good. Well, as good as I'm gonna make it. So that was the first part of it, right? They defeated Peltrola, hopefully whole, right? Like we know that Yumeko Suzukiri wanted to let Peltrola go, but whatever little bits of Peltrola were trying to escape were quickly thwarted by Pink. So hopefully Peltrola is dead. We'll see though. He's a sneaky little bastard, so it could very well be that some fragment of him is still very much alive. And I mean, I'm talking about halves. No, that was the episode. That was the episode, the fight with Peltrola. But I have it in my head that halves, because another important thing happened in the episode that wasn't expanded upon, that something that we're gonna see, I guess, realized fully in today's episode, and that is the descending below to fight the Blue Keeper. Oh, there was a second half. Almost forgot. We got a backstory on the Blue Keeper, how he was a delinquent, a criminal, petty criminal, doing some theft, stuff like that, and Red really grew to like him for some reason, so he decided to get him into the Rangers, because the previous Blue just, conveniently, somehow, for some reason, just died. Who knows why, right? But you're perfect here. Red is really meddling a lot, and I really have to wonder, why did he pick the person he did for the role of Blue, right? Like, I would really think that Red would fill the entire organization with like-minded people, right? With people who have no scruples, who also want to just get rich and get famous and stuff like that. But no, he actually picks, like, good people. I would even say that he brings people that are not easy to control. He's kind of working against his own goals here a little bit. I'm still not sure what exactly his motivations are, besides, you know, fame. I'm the hero, look how I bask in my own glory, right? Maybe he actually chosen good people, for the lack of a better term, to, you know, create this image of the Keepers that they're good people, or I don't know. I'm really having trouble getting a proper full read on him, but maybe we're gonna see that. Maybe not in this episode, but maybe, you know, in the future seasons. This episode is certainly going to be a bit of a defining point of this series, to me, at least. How the fight of D versus Blue is handled is really going to define the general tone and vibe, quote-unquote, of this show. If Blue actually is defeated, if Blue actually dies, then the vibe of the show is that there are no morally black or morally white people, there are only shades of gray. And D is our protagonist, but we can't forget that he's a monster, and he's going to kill good people for revenge, right? Kind of like a I don't want to say overlordy thing, but basically, you know, we're not going to be following a good guy. We're going to be following an anti-hero of some sort. If they come to an agreement, if they come to I don't know, to some sort of a truce or something, that's going to show me that this series is more about doing what's right, doing what's good, and that D can rise above those divisions. And if he sees that this guy that I fucking hated is actually a good guy that could actually help my cause, I'm gonna team up with him. Maybe reluctantly, maybe not reluctantly, but he's better in the grand scheme of things alive and helping me than dead for what? For petty revenge, right? So this episode is really going to be defining like that. I hope it's the latter. I really hope it's the latter. I really hope that overall the vibe of this show is going to be more on the positive side, right? The classic good versus evil. I know it might be a little played out at this point, but it's always a compelling narrative to me, rather than, you know, oh yeah, I'm supporting D, but he killed another person that I was also supporting and it hurts, right? I would rather not go through that. We'll see, of course, as I said. One thing for sure, in today's episode, we're gonna have D fight Blue. How's that fight gonna go? I don't know. We didn't really have any clues. We didn't really have anybody, like, I don't know, get the whiff of it and be like, you know, on the run. Oh, I have to make it before D starts fighting Blue. I have to warn them or something like that. No, nothing of the sort. D versus Blue is a fight pretty much set in the void. No outside interference that has been that would have been shown beforehand. None of that. Maybe these friends are gonna get involved. They are still around. Maybe other keepers, probably not. If anything, I can see maybe Komachi and other Blues lieutenants. What are their names? Aran. And there was someone else. Yeah, them maybe. Aran and Kono, I think, is also Blue. Yeah, they might come here and maybe talk Blue out of killing D or something like that. I don't know. We'll see all about it in this episode, of course. the final one for the moment. But to do that, you will need your subs to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. And I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, costs you nothing, helps a lot. On Patreon, early access to Wasu You. And with that, we can start watching episode 12, the finale of Sentai Daishikkaku in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, bit of a recap. That was a good fight. I don't even mind the recap, because it was a damn good fight. Especially this like attack from both sides, right? One of them kicking Peltrola from behind. That was a damn good fight. Yeah, kinda, sorta. Right, and Blue gets the cartridge from Konno. Exactly. And that's where we end it. I don't think it has to be an or. I really don't think there has to be an or here. Okay, no opening. Some sort of a space orbital base? Okay, I guess we're gonna learn a little bit about the nature of the fighters. D is born. Oh, that's CG. Yeah, I guess D is born and other fighters created by the boss monsters. Yeah, makes sense actually. Not a bad tactic. Age 0. Yeah, so it really looks like the fighters don't really have a skin in the game, do they? Right? They were just created, told to go fight for their bosses without much of an incentive for themselves. I always love every shot where Red has his mask like half covered in blood. Yeah, he can. Those weird organic things. What is this? Yeah, they've been having this hope for the longest time. And it turns out that, yeah, boss monsters were actually alive, but they weren't here to help them. Oh, double X. So I guess they already knew each other. Right. Yeah, you gotta stick to the script. Exactly. Look how sad he looks. Yeah, I still have to wonder, what does Hibiki intend to do here? Right? Like, he doesn't really have any possible venue to do anything about the Keepers at this point. Oh, now we get an opening. Sure, opening 6 minutes in. Why not? I really thought at this point we're just not gonna get the opening. It would be, fitting for the end, for the final episode, right? They want to have the most possible time to tell the story of the final episode, so they often skip the opening, skip the ending, or do some part of the show during the ending credits, stuff like that. But it seems like they maybe don't have enough material to fill an entire episode. That's why we got so much of a last time Dragon Ball Z moment. That's why we got the flashbacks. I mean, the flashbacks explain a little bit, but they don't really show us anything we didn't know already. This is such a cool image. Dancing in a palm of a Red Keeper. And it really gives me hope that maybe it's going to be everybody versus Red at some point. Hopefully. How'd you know his name? You remember him? Hmm. And his sword goes out. Yeah, given time. That's the goal. So, who's gonna stop them? Oh, nobody. We're not going for a comedic subversion after all. Yeah, you don't really stand a chance, the sword or not. Exactly. That's a very good question, actually, isn't it? Or shackled to do your bidding, I think, is more apt description of it. I don't know, I'm not sure, but I really get the vibe that they somehow, I don't know, imprison the dragon deity or something like that. Just don't get cocky, you know? Overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer, as we all know. Yeah, kinda. Yeah, you still need to breathe. Gonna reconstitute himself. Yeah, that's smart, actually. Nothing personal, kid. Konno. It is a cheap trick, yeah. Yeah, that really didn't achieve much, did it? This woman's? Who do you mean? You mean Komachi? Or is there, I don't know, dragon god priestess that betrayed the dragon god or something like that? Like kind of sort of the opposite of Suzukiri. Yeah, that doesn't bode well for D, does it? True. Just a regular blade. D is really outgunned here. I really have no idea how this fight is gonna conclude in a way that D survives and his identity remains hidden and the conclusion is satisfying. Huh? Who? That was a red laser blast. Petrola? Shit! Okay. And double X. Yeah. They have healing powers. At least Pink does. Or Masurao, more aptly. Now kill the last Peltrola, please. Double X? What's going on here? Peltrola taking double X over? I mean, you didn't even try any other, so that's kind of an empty words. Okay, so Peltrola remains alive. Blue is dead. D got a meaningless victory. Probably trying to figure out who's gonna be a replacement, knowing you. Of course. Of course that's his concern. Assuming the information gets out, of course. I mean, you're gonna get a new blue, so yeah, there's gonna be a change. Mm-hmm. Oh, he did die. Huh. I genuinely thought he's gonna survive. Right. Yeah, don't try to think. You're the muscle here. You're not the brains. Oh. Okay, gotcha. Oh. Okay, so... Okay. That's good. So at least he's gonna be alive, hopefully. Who would bring him over? Probably Double X. She did seem to waver even in this episode. I mean, all of you together defeated the boss monster, so don't sell yourself short. Koguma is still alive. If they didn't try to cover it up. I really expected them to just try and cover up the story. Is she like a PR person? Yeah, I mean, that confidence gets kind of shaken right now, doesn't it? I mean, depends whether you help that secret get out or not. Who are you? Yeah, I mean, we're a family, aren't we? We have pizza on Fridays. So a third party is involved? Or is it the remaining boss monsters? Who's we? Ooh. Who's we? Didn't even clean up yourself, huh? Gee, I wonder who would it be, huh? Oh. How do you know? Hmm. True. Yeah, he probably has some skin in the game, otherwise he just would have ratted her out. Hmm. How'd you get your hands on the blue lance? Oh, she was already on site, waiting for it to happen, wasn't she? What's this cave? Hibiki? Or some new character? That's Hibiki, but not. What the fuck happened to Hibiki? Okay. People are dead, shit's fucked, yo, but let's do a dance number. uh... Sure. I thought that maybe they're at least gonna do something like, I don't know, remove blue from this ending or something, but doesn't seem to be the case. Wouldn't be hard to do, seeing how it's CG. Just delete the model and render the scene again. This really didn't go how I expected it to. But I think Dee experienced a little bit of character growth here. So that's good to have. We're gonna talk a little bit about it later, but right now let's watch this episode again, shall we? Yes, we shall. So, recap. And then a flashback to how everything came to be. So the fighters didn't even like arrive here with the boss monsters. It's not a situation where there are on some distant planet, there are boss monsters and there are fighters, kind of like two separate castes of the same society. And the boss monsters are taking the fighters as their, you know, fodder for the meat grinder, right? But rather they were created with one single purpose of being the cannon fodder, which really gives a little bit more context, I guess, to the fact that Dee doesn't really feel loyal to the boss monsters or bound to them in any sort of a way, right? They were created as perfectly fully mature characters with already somewhat formed personalities, and now they're told that you are our slaves and you are going to conquer and you are going to die, and we're conquering this planet that you first time you hear about, right? It really makes sense for Dee, and for other fighters as well to question their loyalty. I love how much, I don't know how to put it into words, how often Red has contact with blood. I guess, for lack of a better term, right? He always has like a smear of blood on his helmet, or just bloodied fists, or something like that, always. And it really highlights the kind of a character he is. And it really contrasts with this like Super Sentai thing, where the suits are always clean, right? That's kind of a thing. I think it was even, I don't want to say like memed about, but it was, I think, touched upon in Power Rangers, not Turbo, the one with the post-apocalyptic world. I forgot the name of it, but they also had cars. That's why I always associate it with Turbo. Maybe in other Super Sentai shows as well. But that season of Power Rangers had plenty of those things, like they actually tried to explain the morphing grid. There was a moment where they explained why explosions always appear behind them when they morph, and one of them even used that explosion to defeat some of the grunts. And I think it was actually touched upon the cleanliness of their suits. Like there's some sort of a, I don't know, quantum protective layer or something that just keeps them clean, something like that. It's kind of a staple, right? No matter how much a Super Sentai hero fights, no matter how many tumbles through the dirt they take, the suit is always super clean. And this really stands in opposition to it, because Red's suit is so very often dirty. And not just with anything, it's dirty with blood, with the blood of his victims, essentially. I'd really like this contrast to, again, the regular, usual Super Sentai classics, so to speak. I'm sure the boss monsters are still alive. Yeah, everyone was holding up to that hope except the D. D really seems to have known, even from the very get-go, that, yeah, the boss monsters are probably dead, and we only have, you know, ourselves to take care of our own. Nobody's coming to rescue us. Meanwhile, Double X seems to have the exact opposite outlook, right? The boss monsters are still there. I need to go and find them. I need to go and save them. I'm still loyal to the boss monsters. They created us, yada, 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 right? Spewing propaganda, for the lack of a better word here. And this flashback, I guess, mostly shows us that D has been a bit rebellious from the very get-go. It's not a change that just suddenly happened, right? He suddenly got his own personality, he suddenly got his own goals and aspirations and decided to rebel. No, he was like that from the very get-go. Which kind of makes me wonder what's up with the fighter creation process, right? Like, how does it work? Why would the boss monsters create fighters who are this imperfect, who can exhibit traits that would make them willing to betray their masters, right? I don't know if it's gonna be expanded upon in the future or not, but it's interesting to think about. We're not Sakurama's younger brother. Yeah, we gotta fight. I really was thinking, how are they getting out of the revealing his identity here, right? Because all this time I really thought, okay, Blue has to survive, right? Blue is a good guy. Good guys always survive. And maybe the good keepers are going to stand up against the bad red keeper, or something like that is going to happen, right? D is going to bring that change, and he's going to assemble a team above any divisions, right? Other fighters are his friends and are gonna join the team. The cadets are his friends and they're gonna join the team. If some of the keepers also are partial to the vision of coexistence, they could join the team. But it seems like D, first of all, is very much still thinking Keeper is evil, Keeper must die. You know, that very simple worldview, which I wonder if it's going to evolve over time. I certainly hope so. But this fight, I guess, kind of solved that issue by Peltrola's involvement. I thought that maybe someone's going to interfere here. I thought maybe Komachi being, you know, dropping here and being like, no, no, Blue, don't kill him. He actually helped us kill Peltrola. He's one of the good guys. And I heard from Ranmaru because he woke up, or, you know, something like that. Right? Don't be your hot-headed self. Let's think about it for a moment. Yada, yada, yada. Things like that. But no. No, not really. Not whatsoever, actually. We had a fight. Humanity's foe, and of course, D stands no chance. I really, here I started thinking, how is D even going to win? And I really thought it can't work without outside interference, and it cannot work without that outside interference convincing Blue to keep D's identity a secret, and them reluctantly working together, or something like that. But I guess we're not far enough into this whole conspiracy to have that sort of like strong third party build, right? Like, we don't have anybody besides D who would be privy to what D is trying to do. It would be a different thing if, for example, all of the other cadets also knew about what D is trying to do. Because then we would have, I don't know, whoever, we would have Angel, for example, drop here and protect D and be like, no, Blue, we are actually fighting the good fight. Maybe you could join us, or, you know, something like that. But because it's only D who knows about it, there cannot be any outside interference. That, you know, positive, quote-unquote, outside interference. We got a negative outside interference instead. Yeah, D actually working smart, and I like the fact that D is actually having fun here. And I'm just a fighter, I can't get enough of it. I can't get enough of this, right? I'm not mock fighting now. I'm fighting the good fight that I believe in, fighting against my oppressor. And I'm not having it easy, it's not scripted. And I, the weakest one, I am fighting against the strongest opponent. That's a rush of adrenaline, that's a rush of dopamine right now coursing through my veins. I like that he likes this fight. I really thought that this fight might end with both D and Blue just getting exhausted and just falling down on the ground and being like, truce, truce. And the episode ends here. Something like that, I thought, maybe. They're gonna be evenly matched somehow. But no. No, 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 not quite. This belongs to this woman's power. What woman? Are you talking about Suzukiri? No, probably not. We know that Suzukiri was probably some sort of a priestess of the dragon god. But she's here incognito. Nobody treats her differently, so I don't think they know of her past with the dragon deity. So probably not talking about her. Talking about Komachi? Maybe this particular power that he used from the cartridge comes from the cartridge that Komachi had. And we know that Blue is still, you know, kind of standoffish like that. So it would make sense that he would call Komachi that woman or this woman rather than calling her by name. Maybe Komachi. And another moment that really made me think, okay, we might come to a peaceful resolution, actually. D's sword going out, D taking shelter by Konno's body. I don't know if he's dead or not. And then stepping away from it. And Blue sees, okay, he has honor, changing his mind, a little bit, and slowly through the course of this fight, you know, them essentially having a discussion with their fists to proclaim their standing where they stand, and maybe figure out some middle road here, or some common stance, or something like that. But no. Instead, we get a very, yeah, this is exactly what I've always wanted. To do this with my own hands. To rise up for what I believe. And then we get just a very unsatisfying end to it. With a very interesting, whatchamacallit, impact frame. Is it just inverted colors? Yeah, it's just inverted. Just like that, outside interference. Not the kind I was hoping for. Not the kind D was hoping for either. He was hoping to finish this fight through his own merit. Show me this shot of Double X, please. Yeah, stop talking. Right, this little drop of sweat, her quivery breath, and kind of, you know, kind of resignation, kind of like a silent "I'm sorry" towards D. It really makes me think that she's also wavering a little bit. And it again makes me think immediately of abusive relationship, right? Especially after she said, "I don't know any other way." Right? Well, I don't know any other man. I don't know any other woman. I don't know any other relationship. So I stay in what I know, right? I know he's gonna hit me. I know she's gonna abuse me. But I know that. The unknown is scary. The known, less so. It might be painful, but it's not scary. It's kind of like this, right? The parallels to an abusive relationship are very clear. My punishment. I turned a blind eye to what I've lost. What do you mean exactly here? Lost the real evil. Yeah, this is really not how D wanted it to go. He really was enjoying this fight. He really wanted this fight to be something that he does. He himself, without anybody's help, to show just how strong a fighter can be, that a fighter can stand up for themselves. And his dream got destroyed, fittingly, by Peltrola. Blue gave him the fight that he wanted. He did not call for reinforcements. He did not try to, I don't know, use any underhanded tactics. None of that. Blue gave this fight his all. But then Peltrola came and completely shattered what D wanted to achieve here. I thought that this might be a moment of Double X maybe rebelling against Peltrola, biting him and just killing him like that. But no, apparently Peltrola is going to enter Double X's body, and I love the glowing scar things on her mouth. I'm sorry, Lee, this is the only way I know how to live. That's the thing, though, you have not tried any other ways. Right? Like, you can't say, I only like Gouda cheese, if you haven't tried any other cheeses. Right? Maybe you're gonna like Mimolette. Maybe you can get a little bit more adventurous and try Brie. You might just like Camembert, or young cheddar, or old cheddar, right? There's plenty of cheese out there in the world. You can't just limit yourself to Gouda and claim that you're gonna eat Gouda all the time, and this is the best cheese, and this is the only cheese I know. and refuse to try any other cheeses. Which is something that, you know, you can know intellectually. Psychology is weird. Psychology is very weird. Because even though you might know things intellectually in your head, it doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to change that behavior easily, right? Like, I know, I've known it for years that I should fix my sleep schedule, right? I'm always awake, like, I don't know, 20-ish hours, and then I sleep for 9 or 10. Or I sleep even longer, or I'm awake even longer, and I know that I should fix it intellectually, but I just fucking can't. And it's so incredibly weird. So I'm not going to I'm not holding it against XX, right? Because I know how it is to maybe know conceptually that, yeah, this is probably not the best for me, but yet still being stuck in your old schemes, basically, in your old patterns. That's how human mind works. Human mind very often just prefers established patterns over, I don't know, trying to try something new that could potentially be even beneficial. People would rather be stuck for 20 years at a dead-end job than try to get a new one. People would often rather be stuck in an abusive relationship than try for a new one, etc., etc., etc. You can create an infinite amount of examples. And this is exactly what XX is doing. The exact opposite of what D is doing. D has been stuck in this whole thing for the longest time as well. But then he rebelled. He strayed away. He thought maybe there is a better life to have. And he ventured out to test it. And he found a potential for a better life. Then he didn't get stuck in his belief of, you know, we need to destroy the keepers to have the monsters win. He thought, what if we destroy the boss monsters as well? And he ventured to do that. And entirely possible that he will adjust his worldview even more. What if we allowed some of the keepers to live? And just removed the biggest issue here, red. What if we did that? Let's try it. Let's not be stuck in the template that they formed, but let's try something else. They're so very different. Smart play on Peltorola's part, for sure. D is not going to attack XX. I don't think. He should have, yeah, but he's not going to do that. Peltorola did the exact same thing that that D did, taking on Konno's form, basically. And yeah, of course, Red's biggest concern here is that their hero pose is going to be imbalanced. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly is Red's deal. Like, he's not evil, so to speak, right? It's not that he's using the organization for, I don't know, money laundering or human trafficking or anything like that. No. He could have, if he was evil, right? He could have monopolized crime, essentially. But he didn't do that. He actually seems to be doing good deeds, right? Helping people. Even if it's mostly for show, he still does the good thing. He really reads as psychopath or sociopath, kinda, in that vein, with like an obsession about being a hero. Something like that, right? Like, if there is no crime, I'm going to create crime so I can be a hero. But because there is crime, I'm going to fight that crime in, you know, to show myself without much regard for actually, doing the good deed, right? It's heroism itself. It's the act of heroism. It's the tag of a hero that he's so fascinated with. If he could attain the status of a hero by planting trees, and planting trees alone, the entire fucking earth would be covered in a dense forest by now. But because it's fighting crime that's associated with being a hero, he fights crime. Right? He doesn't, but not because of the fighting crime is good, but because of the status it gives him. He doesn't care that that the child will be happy that he rescued a kitten from the tree. He doesn't give a fuck about the child. He doesn't give a fuck about the kitten. He cares because there was someone with a phone filming it. And he's going to pose at the end. Red Keeper helps again. Right? That's what he is all about. I really think that's his deal. Just a psychopath with a fascination for heroism. For the act of being a hero. Change within the Rangers is unavoidable. Yes, indeed. At least you're gonna get a new blue. I wonder who's next in line. That would be Komachi, wouldn't it? They're gonna have to change their hero pose, though, to incorporate Komachi. Or maybe they're gonna take Konno. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I don't know if Konno is alive or not. But wouldn't surprise me if Red just said, no, Komachi, you're too short, you're not gonna fit into the pose, we're gonna take someone else, we're gonna take fucking Aigen. He's tall enough, he has a similar build, let's take him, right? It doesn't matter that he's just been a cadet, whatever, we're not doing any serious fighting anyway, let's take him, he fits the pose kinda. Right, we're gonna give him a little bit of a booster in his boots, and he's gonna be perfect for the job. Wouldn't surprise me if that was actually the case. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I just minimized it. But I'm really wondering if by the end of this story we're going to just replace all of the keepers. Sentai Daishikkaku. There we go. All keepers eventually get replaced, right? Like pink gets replaced with Maserao, green gets replaced with Canon, red maybe gets replaced with Shun, I don't know, yellow with Yumeko, right? Something like that might happen, I wonder. I don't know. And maybe that would make D realize that, hey, wait, I'm not even fighting against the same people anymore. Is there even any need to fight against them? Maybe. We get some backstory on Canon, how she was rescued from rubble by... He looks like Sojiro. Has Canon been saved by Sojiro? How did she climb the ladder faster, though? Or is this the face of green being reflected? If it is, then why would he not wear a helmet, though? And why would he wear white clothes? He doesn't have a mustache. Maybe it's young Sojiro before he got a mustache. Like he's been a cadet for so long that he just fucking aged without jumping any higher in the hierarchy. You know what? I'm gonna note it down. Canon was saved by Sojiro. And here he is, dead. I really thought that he's gonna be alive. Like he got hit, he rose back again, he fired a shot. So it means he's probably fine enough. Masurao is going to arrive in time, heal him. I really thought there's gonna be much less death in general in this show. I don't know. Koguma has been killed by the monster as well. Fighter was disguised as Koguma. Yeah. Right. So now there is that thought that's gonna be there always in the back of their head. Is my friend really my friend? Right? I wonder if they're going... Yeah, they're absolutely going to have to check it at some point. At some point you will actually have, I don't know, Angelica or Ren, I don't know, stab someone with a pen or something to see if there's black smoke or blood. Or, you know, something like that's gonna happen. One of the cadets injures another to check if they're a fighter. Ranmaru faced the boss monster all alone and was defeated instead. However, I heard that right after the boss monster pierced through his gut, someone transported him to an instructor. Komachi was already in the elevator. Peltrola was doing fuck knows what. Had to be Double X. Had to be Double X. Double X has some sort of doubts, and she might even sacrifice herself in the name of her new ideals, right? XX has some doubts, sacrifices herself for the better cause. Probably with some poignant line like, I don't know how to live any other life anyway, so I'm going to throw this bad life away to give you the ability to pursue the good fight, or something along those lines. Glad to see Ranmaru alive, though. We can't forget that he's the only one who knows this real form, though. That's gonna be interesting when he wakes up. You're more than qualified, Yuki, I guarantee it. Yeah. Blue Keeper deceased, Blue Divine Artifact yet to be found. Okay, so I guess Yumeko just snatched that Blue Divine Artifact for some reason. I mean, we know for what reason, probably. I really think that she's trying to reconstruct the dragon deity or something like that. It would be too cruel to let her make PR appearances now. Yeah, I mean, yeah, makes sense that they can't expect Komachi to do the PR here. I think they're talking about Komachi. They're still trying to hide the truth about the boss monster. Right, yeah. Peltrola has succeeded in obtaining the item in question. What item? What item was Peltrola put... did Peltrola grab the blue artifact? No, it wasn't shown. He left together with Double X. And the blue artifact was still in the room. Something else, then? I wonder what sort of a third party is going to be involved here. This is interesting that he's talking about Peltrola as if he was just a goon, right? Like, oh yeah, boss, Tony has obtained the briefcase. Tony's got it, boss. right? Like this sort of a vibe from here, rather than, you know, our boss, the boss monster that we all pray to because we're the cultists of the boss monster, has managed to obtain the divine artifact, or right? It's much more casual. Third party above boss monsters, above divisions as well. Third party comprised of both humans and monsters. Kind of like an antithesis to D's party, so to speak, right? D wants to gather human, monster, doesn't matter, as long as it is for the purpose of getting rid of the Dragon Keepers, getting rid of the boss monsters, and establishing a new order of coexistence. Meanwhile, this third party might be, we're gonna take humans, we're gonna take monsters, as long as we can manipulate them to do our bidding and get control of the world from behind the scenes. This sort of thing. Now that they've lost blue, the Rangers are in a state of chaos. Perfect chance to take action. And red, again, red is a bad guy, but he's not a bad guy, you know? I thought that maybe he is involved in this conspiracy, right? He's working behind the scenes. And maybe he works with Peltrola, or Peltrola works under him, or something like that. But no, he's very much like, it's true that he wants to fight against monsters. It's not a lie. It's not a lie that he wants to save humanity. It's not a lie that he wants to do good deeds. This facade that he created is not a facade. This is actually him. Except with a layer of sociopathy underlying all of it, where he cares more. It's not even that he cares more about the image than he cares about the result. If he cared more about the image than about the result, would he have intervened here, considering there are no cameras around? I don't know. But yeah, he sees someone doing bad things and he wants to fight them, he wants to get rid of them. Some really cool facial expressions here. And plenty of them. You guys are in the wrong, we are in the right. Who is we? Who is we, my dude? And the blood splashes. Yeah. And he enters the place just dripping with blood. Didn't even bother cleaning himself up. I really like how completely blasé he is about blood. Again, this is the lack of, you know, social cues here. Like, I don't think I can even call him a psychopath, because psychopaths, sociopaths, they can mask really, really fucking well. But he doesn't even bother doing that, right? He's not trying to keep up the facade of being the good guy here. No, he just strolls in with the blood on him, but also not caring about the blood, not caring about anybody's reaction. I really want to learn more about Red. I really, really do. Out of everybody here, he's 100%, he's the most interesting character. Maybe not in the entire show, because Suzukiri is like close. Close behind, close in the front. Close behind, because we ultimately know more about Suzukiri than we know about Red. There's a traitor among the Rangers. Who could it be, I wonder? The fact that you had it proves everything. How did you figure that she has it, though? Where did it come up? Did she drop it? Did you snoop through her things, or what? Supposedly stolen by the monster. When was it revealed that she had it? For the sake of your goal being... right, Shun has an aspiration to become the next Red Keeper. So I guess him having a cartridge... it does work for the sake of his goal. Gotcha. It's too late to tell me to return it, but she doesn't care. Eyo. For now, that is. Since I already got a new one. Oh, yeah, the lance was left behind. We don't see it taken away, though. So what's the deal with it? How did she get her hands on it? And why are we suddenly in the middle of a forest? Is it like a secret entrance to the facility? Or something? And here we see Hibiki. Looking very interestingly. His pupils being much smaller, it seems. His face covered in burn scars? How would he get burn scars? I wonder if we're going to see a bit of an inversion. I wonder. These set off with the goal of destroying the Dragon Keepers, and he's going to end up fixing the Dragon Keepers. Hibiki set off with the goal of fixing the Dragon Keepers, but he's ultimately going to try to destroy them. I'm basing it entirely on his looks. Which is maybe not fair, but he looks fairly villainous here, right? No longer smiling cheerfully like he used to, cloaked in shadow, right? Fuck it. In a version of goals, the wanted to destroy keepers and he'll fix them. Hibiki the opposite. Like, I can fully see these actions essentially ridding the keepers of the corrupt ones. Assuming anybody besides Red here is corrupt, we still don't know. We know that Pink at least has good intentions, so she's probably not corrupt. We know that Blue was corrupt in his own eyes, but ultimately good. We know nothing about Yellow and Green. I don't know. Actually, one interesting thought. Maybe a bit of a crack theory, but I'm gonna note it down anyway. Hibiki ends up killing Pink. Pink, his sister, for the greater good or something like that. Actually, it would be very interesting if all of the keepers ended up dead, but none of them at the hands of D. All keepers and up dead, but not by this hand. That would be an interesting way to go about it, wouldn't it? Right? Blue was killed by Peltrola. D might even try to work with Pink, right? Because we have similar goals. We could try to work together. And then cue Pink being killed by Hibiki. D finds some understanding with Green, maybe, for example. Right? They find, I know, common hobby or whatever, and they even get a little bit friendly, a little bit buddy-buddy, and then Green dies to Double X. Right? Something like that. Maybe. Maybe. That would play into the inversion of goals, where D was supposed to kill them all, but actually ended up killing none. And the cheery, dancey ending, of course. Thankfully, Season 2. Thankfully, we know of Season 2. So yeah. Yeah, Season 2, alright. Okay. So, with that, we can go through the theories. Plenty new theories today, but I have like a page and a half to go through of the past theories. So let's go through them. Something more to the blonde girl and the ginger dude. Yes, meaning Yumeko and Hibiki. Very much something more to them. It was known to me, or at least I got suspicious of it the moment they appeared on the screen. Third parties involved gave Rangers the divine artifacts. We don't know, like, fully certainly about the existence of a third party, so I'm gonna leave it. There's something more to the grants than... there's something more to the grants they can tap into, right? Some sort of a suppressed superpower that the fighters might have. We don't know. Nothing like that has been shown. Suzuki is a monster or a member of the third party. I think it's a safe assumption that she's a member of a third party. Suzuki is a member of the third party. A monster? Probably not. I'm gonna give it yellow, and we'll see how it develops. First, the aliens came, got beaten, divine weapons was stolen from them. Suzuki is one of those original aliens, wants revenge. Second aliens that came were the Dusters. Probably not what happened. But just in case it turns out that the Dragon God was actually an alien, I'm gonna leave it. Divine Artifact has not, in fact... Divine Artifact was not, in fact, created a year into the invasion. Created a year into the invasion. Right, that the Divine Gear was something... older. We don't know that. F is not dead. I think it's safe to assume that F is dead by now. F in the chat. Where is it? Here it is. Blue wants an actual fight and D can give it eventually, so Blue won't kill him for now. No, we know that Blue actually thought that he killed D for realsies. D uses his regen in battle, cuts off his limbs and uses them as tools, weapons. Happened multiple times. So yes. Yes, very much so. Suzuki needs all 5 weapons for something. Super weapon to resurrect the dragon who sports the weapons are, etc, etc. Probably, safe to assume, but we don't have a proper, like, full confirmation, so I'm gonna leave it. I mean, I guess it's safe to say that she needs those 5 weapons for something. We just don't know exactly for what. Divine artifacts are parts of a dragon. We don't know that. Again, safe to assume, but no confirmation. Dusters and their masters came to Earth in peace, were attacked by Keepers first. I don't think that's what happened. From what the boss monsters told us, they actually want to conquer the Earth. and not revenge on keepers, for example. The other dusters are replicas or double X and her kin. Right, double X and other hairy fighters, for the lack of a better term, are the originals, and the rest of the featureless dusters are their clones. Probably not. Probably not. I mean, we see the dusters being created out of nothing. Peltrola takes out the keepers, or they run away. I mean, he took out one of the keepers, so I'm gonna say yellow. Keepers were keeping Peltrola somewhere in the base. Probably not, but I'm still not sure. Senpais have to pick up the slack together with recruits. Kinda, they were left here to deal with Peltrola. And there's talk of bolstering the ranks with getting the recruits like properly introduced into the force. D gets disillusioned with boss monsters. Why did Peltrola not liberate fighters? Exactly what happened. Next page. D rebels against fighters' initial orders. I mean, yeah, exactly. He rebelled against the bosses. Komachi discovers the secrets of the facility. Right, when I thought that the elevator might take her somewhere weird, not what happened. First rank rangers discovered that bosses were not all dead or another secret. I mean, everybody knows that the bosses are not dead, so basically, or another secrets, or other secrets, not so much. The ornate door leading to Peltrola's room makes the room otherwise important. I'm still suspicious of that, but no confirmation either way. Lieutenant's weapons are made out of boss monster corpses, weapons, and the monsters share the same nature. Right, it's because Peltrola had this, like, cables underneath his mask, and the weapons also have those cables, those like muscle fibers. No confirmation there. Dragon Keepers use the body of a dragon, a deity, to make weapons. Suzukiri is a former devotee of the dragon and wants to bring it back by collecting the weapons. And I had a very similar theory early on. Apparently I doubled it. But yeah, we don't know either way for sure. Boss monsters have a connection to the dragon deity, we don't know. Weapons came before bosses. Bosses want to avenge dragon, we don't know. Second page. Red is working with boss monsters. I think at this point it's safe to say that no, he is not. That he is genuine in his goal to defeat the monsters. Blue is limited artificially by the necessity of cartridges. Right, because blue was selected by red, and red didn't want blue to be, you know, too powerful, but I think it's like everybody gives the cartridges to their lieutenants, so technically everybody is limited by that. So I'm gonna say no, it wasn't like specifically done against blue. All keepers eventually get replaced. Oh, those are new theories. Kanu saved by Sojiro. Right. And other theories, and that's it. So one bust on this page, and the previous, that's Spice and Wolf, that's Majo Toyaju, Yu, Sentai Daishikkaku. There we go. Not that bad. Plenty of still, you know, unknown things, mostly pertaining to the nature of weapons and the keeper's powers. But yeah, plenty of hits as well. So, about the episode. It really did not go how I thought it would. I really thought all this time that it's going to go in a more of a good ending direction, right? Where D is going to start making maybe friends among the keepers, the ones that could be convinced that coexistence is better, and that ultimately all of them are going to race against red, or something like that. At the least, I really thought that blue is going to survive, right? I mean, he's a likable character. We can't have him die just like that, can we? And we can't have him die at these hands, least of all. And granted, he did not die at these hands, so that's a bit of consolation. But he did die in the end. And the fact that both Blue and Sojiro have died, I guess kind of sets a precedent now. Because the default, in my mind at least, is that named characters, important characters, are given plot armor, essentially, for the most part. If someone doesn't have a name or is like a background character, they're free to die, and it doesn't say anything about the main characters potentially dying. But this sets a precedent. This sets a precedent that no, the keepers are not immortal. No, the keepers being good people doesn't give them plot armor either. Right? That means that Pink, as much as she is very much partial to these goals, Pink is not safe. Pink could very well die. That means Green and Yellow, wherever they stand on this issue, are also not safe. They can also die. It means that the other recruits are not safe either. Granted, Sojiro was the least likable of them all, so nobody's really going to mourn his death all that much. But still, it sets a precedent. And it means that at any moment we can have Tsukasa sacrifice himself, we can have Ren die, we can have Yamato or Aigen or Angelica or Angel or anybody else is free game. Right? It bumps up the stakes a fair bit. It strips off the entire plot armor. I still think that there is a group that does have plot armor, and that is the lieutenants. We have not seen any of the lieutenants die yet, and they seem to also have very strong personalities, and they seem to be, I think, they seem to be kind of kind of like, how do I say it? They seem to be developing in the direction of becoming the replacement for the keepers, right? So we can't really have them die, I don't think, right? Someone's gonna have to replace Blue, and that someone, the best candidate, is probably Komachi. Someone's gonna have to replace Pink, and Masurao is a safe bet. Someone's gonna have to replace Green, and Canon, I don't think anybody would mind Canon being the new Green, right? So I think they might have a bit of a plot armor here, but I'm still not sure. It could very well be that during the course of the second season we have one of them just die. Entirely possible. Also, that leaves a curious question of Yumeko, of Suzuki, right? She would be the next in line to be Yellow. But she's not gonna make much of a good keeper, would she? So we can't have her take that position. I wonder. It worked as a core finale. This episode very much worked as a core finale, yes. If this was a season finale without an announcement of a second season immediately after, I would be pissed. Because there are so many threads still left open. This episode created so many cliffhangers, created so many questions, and if it just didn't answer any of them, oh, that would be bad. But we know a second season is in the works, so this works as a core finale, so good. And the season thoughts. We're already nearing an hour and a half, so I'm gonna try to be brief. I very much enjoyed this show. I really do. There was that one episode that was really weirdly paced, and that really kind of ripped me out of immersion. But besides that, I don't really have any qualms with any other episode. Is this show, like, extremely fucking super good? Is this a show of the season, a show of the century? Does it deserve 10.0 on my anime list? No, absolutely not. This show has its flaws. It has its flaws with some pacing issues here and there. It's not always perfectly animated. It's not always, perfectly drawn. It's no Frieren, so to speak. It's no Yofukashi no Uta. It's no, I don't know, Kimetsu no Yaiba. No. But among the droves of seasonal slop, it really stands up. It really stands above them all. This is more than an above average anime, for sure. It's good. It really is. It's not going to get any rewards, probably. I don't think. But it's really, really good. And it's a first venture into an adaptation like that by a studio that used to make gacha adaptations and PVs and MVs. So that's also gotta speak for something, right? They have so much like open field here to still develop, right? They have time to develop their processes. They have time to grow as individual people, right? Individual animators, scenographers, writers, and so on and so forth. So we can only expect better things from Yoostar Pictures from now on, and this is not bad itself. So I'm really going to be following this studio. I'm really going to be curious what else can they give us as far as the non-gacha stories go. Anything else? I very much enjoy the story. I like how subversive it can be. From what I hear, this show is not doing particularly well in Japan, mostly because of the almost the divine state of Super Sentai, right? It's not something you make fun of. It's not something you subvert. What do you mean? Super Sentai characters can be evil? No, they cannot. They're purely good, right? And this sort of thing makes it not so popular in Japan, from what I hear. Again, I'm not in Japan, so I can't say firsthand. But to me, at least, this worked really well. Now, granted, my exposure to Super Sentai shows is limited to Power Rangers, so not that much. But even with that alone, I really enjoy this show, not only through the virtues of it as a subversion of the genre, but also, by its own right. If I've never seen any Super Sentai show, if I've never seen even an episode of Power Rangers, this is still a good show. You don't need to know the Super Sentai role. You don't need to know... What? You don't need to know the Super Sentai tropes. You don't need to know the Super Sentai lore. None of that is necessary here. It really stands in its own right. I really like the story. I like how it can take me in directions that I would not suspect. The entire first half of the season is essentially just subversion after subversion after subversion. And not the cheap kind of a subversion, because everything here makes sense, but rather the kind where I genuinely think I have this whole thing figured out, but then they jump out with some aha you thought. And best of all, that aha you thought makes sense. Often when you see some sort of a subversion done in media, it tends to be cheap, right? You think a character is good, and then just out of fucking nowhere they stab the main character, and oh, how subversive. No, how out of nowhere. This show isn't that. This show really does it well, really keeps me on edge, and really keeps me questioning whenever I think I have it figured out, right? And that's good. I like it. If you can figure out the show just from the very beginning, you can figure out how's it gonna go, it's probably not the greatest story. It might be nice to watch. Sure, we like the things we know, ultimately. But but I like this. I forgot what I was about to say, so I'm just gonna say I like this. When it comes to technicalities, this show is also very, very good. Very good animation, just gorgeous at times, amazing art. Very sparing use of CG, which I always appreciate. Like, we get a couple of moments of CG here and there, mostly when it comes to camera work and surroundings, and there's, like, you know, wide panning, rotating shots. But it's always limited to just the things that I don't want to say not matter, because we often see the keepers being CG. So yeah, I guess I was wrong about this show limiting the use of CG, because the keepers are pretty much always CG. Unless they give us even in close-ups, they're CG. So yeah, scratch that. The CG is good though. Yeah, it's not like cheap CG that you can tell at a glance. It actually works. They actually put effort into making it look 2D. So that's always something that I appreciate. And other than that, when it comes to the, you know, art and animation, I really have not much criticism for it. It's a pretty show. It's very well animated. Me likey. When it comes to the story, as I said, very good, subversive at times, but in a good way. Has some very interesting themes, and it's not like purely linear, but rather you have like there's multiple threads that kind of intertwine, and that's always very, very good. What else? Voice actors, good. I again have no qualms about that. Some of the performances, mostly Yumeko. Oh my god, her voice. Every line she says, it's like a miniature fucking ASMR, right? Like you can almost see her being very close to a microphone here and speaking very, right? Like, yeah, she's outstanding here. Everybody else really does a good job as well. Masurao's moment of doing the like magic thing, that was cool, but Yumeko just stands above them all. Her voice actress. Let's not call her Yumeko. Her voice actress has a name, and that name is Yumika Yano. Yeah, Yumika Yano is doing God's work here. I really did not expect that, but then she hit my ears the first time she spoke and never stopped doing that. Whatever the fuck that means. Good music. I really enjoyed the opening, most of them all, and at times there is music that also is nice. No like tracks that would stand out, right? There's nothing like Down 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 from Kaiju Hachigo, for example. That would be like the theme song of this show, but otherwise the music was, you know, inoffensive, and that's mostly what matters, doesn't it, right? That the music fits what's going on the screen and doesn't take you out of it. The opening is really good there, as I said. And I think that's gonna be it. Yeah, overall, I very much enjoyed this series, enjoyed this season. I'm gonna be waiting with bated breath for season 2. Do we know when is season 2 coming out, actually? Let me check that out. Is it still like TBA? Yeah, we just know that it's 2025. We don't know when exactly. I don't think. Yeah, I'm gonna be waiting, and when it comes out, I'm gonna be seated. You can be damn sure about that. But right now, I've already crossed an hour and 40 minutes, so that's gonna be it from me for today. You guys, you tell me, what did you think of this episode, of this season as a whole, of my reaction, of my theories, stuff like that, in the comments down below. No spoilers, please. We know second season is coming, so try to not spoil it to me. Spoilers can go to my Discord and down below in the description. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future videos, no longer Sentai Daishikkaku, but plenty others. coming this season, like Wasuyu still coming out, Spice and Wolf, Shy Season 2, and plenty others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified when I go live, because I do sometimes, like with my seasonal streams. You might want to check it out if you want to have an idea about what shows I'm going to be watching. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Wasuyu, and for just $1 you get a roll onto Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube, memberships, super thanks, super chats, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one, whatever it might be. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without a Nedze, Reina, Yuuki, Ala, Ishtamu, Duktwot, Akomasar, Marsh, Fasan, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to swallow Peltrola.